how to rebuild trust in yourself after betrayal, after betrayal, after betrayal. There's a single word at the heart of this journey: trust. But if you experience long-term betrayal, especially at the hands of people who were supposed to love you, it's likely the last word you want to hear. Trust for you may feel more like a foreign concept than a foundation. When trust has been broken repeatedly, your instinct may be to close yourself off from the world. You might find it easier to avoid, to isolate, to stay silent. Maybe you were even taught to do so. Many of us were raised in environments where emotional expression wasn't welcome. Vulnerability wasn't safe. Speaking up wasn't allowed. You learned to silence yourself, not by choice, but by programming. You didn't Google how to stop trusting people or how to bottle up my feelings. It was modeled to you. You were trained, likely by your caregivers, to suppress your truth and disconnect from your emotions. In turn, you internalized this behavior and turned it on yourself. The way your parents treated your emotions became the blueprint for how you treat your own. This is where your trust broke, not just in others, but in yourself. You've been conditioned to question your own instincts, to shrink, to silence yourself before anyone else gets the chance to. This is the part where we rarely talk about. That betrayal teaches us to betray ourselves first, just to survive. Betrayal begins in the root. To rebuild trust in yourself, you must understand how it was lost. You might think you have to dig deep, and I believe you should. I'm the kind of person who wants to get to the bottom of things, to uncover every layer and trace every origin. Why? Because those details carry energetic weight. Every emotion you stuffed down, every experience you avoided is stored not only in your mind but in your body. Your nervous system is designed to protect you from perceived threats, and so it builds patterns. If something painful happened to you, like betrayal, shame, or rejection, your body remembers. Until that energy is released, you will continue to react, even subconsciously, as if you are still in danger. When trust has been broken enough times, the body begins to remember. You learn not to expect safety. You learn not to speak up. You learn that silence becomes protection, but this protection begins to become a cage. And the scariest part, that cage begins to feel like home. You didn't wake up one day and decide to mistrust the world. This happened gradually in your nervous system. It happened when the people closest to you modeled emotional unavailability, abandonment, manipulation, or shame. Your body responded by building shields. But shields don't just keep anger out, they also keep your truth in. You were taught, most likely unconsciously, how to self-abandon, how to dismiss your intuition, numb your feelings, and tolerate the intolerable. You learn to ignore your internal alarm system, and that's where self-trust begins to erode. What you may not realize is that people who continue to hurt you, abandon you, or break your trust aren't random. They're physical representation of energy you've been carrying. They reflect what hasn't been acknowledged or healed. This is why you must return to the source. You must revisit the childhood programming, the household dynamics, the unspoken family rules. Only then you can separate what is truly you from what was taught to you. So one time in preschool, I ate peas. And I remember absolutely hating peas to the point where I threw up in front of everyone. Literally on the lunchroom table, I ate the peas and threw up almost immediately. And I was so embarrassed at that moment, at that time. I have never ever ate peas again. Still to this day. Okay? Preschool, I'm 27 now. Preschool was the last time that I ate peas. Just because of that memory of the shame, because I threw up in front of everyone, the nasty taste of it, which was kind of traumatizing, and then as well as throwing up in front of everyone. So that was such a traumatizing event for me when I was a kid, to the point that it followed me all the way into my adulthood at 27, and I still refuse to eat peas. I don't care who cooks it. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not eating it. And that's how trauma sticks. So when something is traumatizing, your body remembers that and it avoids that at all costs. And that Maybe a smaller situation because it's food and yeah, I threw up in front of everyone. It might not be small to me, but it might not be that serious to other people, but it was still traumatizing enough for me to not want to eat peas ever again in my life. So just know that this is how it works for every traumatizing event. It doesn't matter how small or big, it still will hold something onto you if you're not willing to address it, become aware of it, or even realize that this is what my body is still holding on to because of that feeling of shame, guilt, rejection, or whatever feeling you felt in that moment about that traumatizing thing. The truth is, none of this is your fault. You've been carrying the karmic baggage, beliefs, and behaviors of people who have never had the tools to heal themselves. You absorbed their trauma and made it your reality. You mistook survival for identity, but you're not broken. You were just never taught how to trust yourself. Healing begins when you reparent yourself. And reparenting means you become the one who sets the rules. You create the safety you never had. You give yourself the voice that was silenced. You give yourself permission to feel, to speak, and most importantly, to trust again. The people who betrayed you weren't just random. They were energetic echoes of your past. They mirrored the vibration of your unhealed wound. It's not that you're broken or doomed to attract pain. It's that your inner child is trying to complete an old story. You meeting people who reflect your deepest fear until you learn how to meet that fear within yourself, that's not punishment. That's your soul trying to get your attention. It's asking, will you listen this time? Will you choose yourself? Will you keep that promise to stay when things get hard? This is the invitation of healing, to no longer betray yourself in the name of acceptance or survival. You need to trace the root of the betrayal. Almost always it starts at home. Ask yourself, how was I treated when I was vulnerable? Who ignored my pain? Who dismissed my truth? Trust begins to erode when we are forced to betray our own feelings in order to stay safe or accepted. Start by naming where the betrayal started. Was it the first time a parent told you to stop crying? Was it when you learned your feelings made others uncomfortable? Self-trust often breaks long before adulthood. It breaks in childhood, when you're made to feel wrong for expressing your truth. Ask yourself this. When did I first learn that my feelings weren't safe? Who taught me to silence myself? When did I feel punished for having needs? Many of us were taught explicitly or implicitly that emotion makes us weak, that our intuition is irrational, that wanting love makes us needy. But none of that is true. It's time to question the original stories. Go back to the scene, revisit the memory, not to stay stuck, but to finally feel what you couldn't feel back then. Be honest about how you feel. Yeah, this one might sting a bit, but really be honest about how you feel. How often do you hear that little voice inside and immediately shut it down? You get a gut feeling about someone and then you talk yourself out of it. You feel hurt, but tell yourself you're being too sensitive. This is self-gaslighting, and it's often learned behavior from parents or caregivers who dismiss your emotional reality. Start writing down what you feel before logic kicks in. Give your body and intuition the mic for once. What are they trying to say? Remember, your emotional reactions are messengers, not inconveniences. You cannot heal what you won't name. Stop worrying about whether your emotions make you look weak or dramatic. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's strength. Avoiding your feelings only prolongs the pain. Speak honestly to yourself. Write it down, say it out loud, pray, scream if you need to. Talking to yourself is talking to God. Be raw, be certain, because the more real you are with yourself, the more you begin to trust that you are finally listening. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Rebuilding self-trust means grieving all the ways you had to abandon yourself just to survive. Grieve the times you knew something felt off but stayed. Grieve the moments you said yes when your body screamed no. Grieve the masks you wore to be loved, chosen, or accepted. This grief is sacred. It's not weakness. It's clarity rising to the surface. This isn't going to be easy. It's not supposed to be. Revisiting your pain takes courage. Naming your traumas takes strength. Identifying the villains in your story, the people who hurt you, changed you, or made you fear love, takes time. Let the process unfold naturally. Don't rush it. Rushing only sends you back into the arms of self-abandonment. Grace allows you to move at the pace of your nervous system, not your ego. Practice real forgiveness. Yeah. Actually, this might be the hardest part. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean people deserve access to you again. Forgiveness is an energetic release. It's saying, I no longer want to carry this poison. Forgiveness is for you. It's how you start to let go of what kept you stuck in the past. Forgive your parents. Forgive your parents. Forgive your parents. Forgive your parents. Forgive the ones who betrayed you. Forgive your younger self for not knowing what you know now. This doesn't excuse what happened, but it unchains you from it. Forgiveness is not spiritual bypassing. It's not about saying what happened was okay. Forgiveness means I will no longer carry the poison someone else handed to me. You can forgive your parents without reconnecting. You can forgive your ex without texting them. You can forgive yourself without guilt. This is energetic sovereignty. This is how you cut the cords and reclaim your power again. Understand and name your triggers. Your triggers aren't random, they are messengers. For example, one of my biggest triggers used to be seeing my partners like another woman's photo on Instagram. Not because I didn't trust him, but because it activated a deep fear of betrayal rooted in childhood. My father cheated. That pain shaped my nervous system. Recognizing that my emotional reaction wasn't about the photo, but about an old wound was life-changing. Once you name your triggers, you can begin to reprogram your response and rewire your beliefs. Triggers are not flaws. They are protective codes your nervous system installed when it didn't feel safe. Let's say your trigger is abandonment. You feel panic when someone pulls away. Your reaction may seem irrational, but it's coming from the same place as the pee that made me throw up. It's ancient, it's cellular, and it deserves tenderness, not shame. Next time you're triggered, try asking yourself, where have I felt this before? What does this remind me of? And how can I comfort myself through this instead of abandoning myself again? Keep the promises you make to yourself. If you say you're going to heal, commit to it. Commit to it. Yeah. Your word to yourself must become sacred. Your word to yourself must become sacred. It's easy to fall back into old habits, old stories, and old cycles. But every time you break a promise to yourself, you reinforce that message that you can't be trusted. Make your healing sacred. Make your growth a ritual. One day it will become your lifestyle. Rebuilding self-trust starts with integrity. You can't trust someone who always flakes, and that includes you. Start with micro promises. I'll drink water before I drink coffee. I'll take 5 deep breaths when I feel overwhelmed. I'll say no when I mean no. Each time you honor your word, your body feels safer. You're proving, I've got you now. Love your old self. Your past is not a demon to be cast out. Your past is not a demon to be cast out. Your story is not something to be ashamed of. You don't need to spiritually bypass your trauma or pretend to be high vibrational all the time. Healing is messy, and loving your past self, the one who didn't know better, is a part of the process. You are not unlovable. The darker parts of your story do not disqualify you from joy. They qualify you for depth, for wisdom, for compassion. That's what makes your journey sacred. You must love the wounded child, the broken teenager, the betrayed adult, because if you can love yourself in weakness, you can truly love yourself in strength. You already rebuilt yourself 100 times. You already walked through the fire and came out alive. Honor the one who kept going even when they felt invisible. Honor the one who kept loving even when it wasn't returned. Honor the one who's still here watching this, still trying, still healing, still hoping. That version of you is a warrior, and they deserve your trust. Reparent your inner child. Your inner child is still waiting for someone to say, you were right, you were never too much, you should have been protected. Be that person now. Speak to them in meditations, write them letters, ask them what they need. Let them feel safe, heard, and chosen by you.